You're listening to The Raw Reaction on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Monday night, baby, we're back. It is Angry Tensai and my main man, Big Dick, with our producer extraordinaire, Killer Kev, on the other side of the glass tonight. Folks, we're glad to have the band back together. It's good to be here. Big Dick, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. I thought we had a lackluster pay-per-view there, but I think Raw has slowly started getting us in the right direction. Before we get to Raw, big shocking news out of wrestling community. I don't know if you've heard on various news networks, but apparently Kurt Angle's brother murdered his wife.
This is actually true, Vic, and, you know, people hearing us will be like, wow, that's kind of like messed up. It's one thing to joke about Benoit, but to make up a story about someone actually killing somebody, that's not cool. It actually did happen, and I did hear the story, Vic, and I heard Angle's brother was very cooperative with the police, and what he said was that his wife was forcing vodka on him at 3 a.m. like she normally does, and she was so persistent that he pulled her off the couch, put his foot on her chest, and pulled her arms. And I'm not sure how that killed her, but apparently it did.
If you have enough vodka in you, she could have choked on her own vomit.
You think that's what happened?
I don't know. I don't know. The shocking thing for me was I saw a mugshot of him, and he had a completely full head of hair. He might be half brothers with Kurt Angle, but definitely not full brothers. And he's like 25 years older than Kurt Angle.
I'm just glad it wasn't Eric Angle. Do you remember Eric Angle? He was the guy that in the Undertaker series of the matches in the early 2000s, he would like substitute out. They were doing Twin Magic before the Divas, him and Eric Angle. Do you remember him?
Vaguely. That was quite a while, yeah.
Yeah, his brother looked just like him, but he was like bigger. And he was doing some stuff with the WWE, but never really made it out. But he was, I mean, they mentioned him by name that he was substituting, you know, he would try and trick his way in. And Kane and Undertaker were doing something similar as well at that time. So it was pretty funny, but I was a little relieved it wasn't Eric Angle. You know, hey, it is what it is. Another good Raw. You know, I gotta say before we get started on Raw, I can't say how many, and I'm about to take a shot at a website. I don't want to do that, but how many times have you guys heard me talk about how much I like reading WrestleZone and all that stuff? And they have like a Raw recap, like where they, you know, write up Raw, and I'll look at that sometimes. But Ian Clark, I mean, dude, this has been consistent for like 3 years. This guy's recap is literally the best on the internet. And I'm not just saying that because he's associated with us, but as a writer and a recapper, he absolutely, and I would challenge anyone who's listening to this, find a better recap with a little bit of opinion, which I like. He doesn't have a ton of it, but find a recap that's better than Ian's. I don't think you'll find one. Kev, do you agree with that?
There's none better in the business, brother.
I mean, it really is really, really, really good, you know? And I've been reading it now for like 2 years, 3 years. But I'm saying, like, that's the other site I just mentioned, a major, major website. And their recap isn't even remotely as good as Ian's. And he's doing it real time, just like everybody else. I really appreciate the way he writes things up. And sometimes I read it after we do Raw Reaction just to kind of like go over everything. But, you know, it's nice. And I wanted to shout him out because I never really mentioned it much. But I was reading it last week when I missed Raw Reaction, and Rob the Many was nice enough to sub in. And I have to say, I was just impressed, as always. A little something nice about one of our coworkers. So, anyway, guys.
Before we go, over this. Let's have a little chatter, maybe 5 minutes about the pay-per-view. What were your takeaways?
Yeah, I'm glad I actually was going there because I wanted to apologize to Killer Cow. I don't apologize to anybody. I would say Sting's performance at the pay-per-view and the lead-up was so underwhelming, it was embarrassing. I couldn't believe that was the same Sting that I was watching 2 or 3 years ago in the TNA, saying Sting didn't deliver. I mean, he was terrible. And Kev, if you want to say I told you so, go for it.
You know, the funny thing is, I wasn't going to say I told you so because I thought Sting did a lot better than I was expecting. I mean, don't get me wrong here now. I still don't think Sting should have been in a match. But with that said, the match worked at a pace that Sting could work, and Seth Rollins did a really good job of not exposing him.
Seth Rollins is a very good worker, isn't he? I mean, he's the best.
You know, and at the same time, Sting did his damnedest to make Seth Rollins really look like a young lion who's out there just fighting for his pride.
Yeah. I thought the psychology, Vic, to your question of Seth Rollins losing to Cena, because I actually thought it would be the reverse. I thought he would beat Cena, lose to Sting, and then Sting would lose the title a second later to Sheamus. But can I tell you, here's a reaction to it, Vic. I was very impressed with Seth Rollins, especially with John Cena. That was a good match. I actually believed when Sheamus went to cash in the Money in the Bank, just given it was kind of questionable timing because Seth Rollins was on his feet and he looked like he could still go. I truly believed that moment, which was awesome and would have totally cemented Seth Rollins even further than he is. I was like, Seth Rollins is going to get a win over the Money in the Bank winner right now because he was still on his feet. Sheamus came out. And I was like, oh my God, he's going to win. He's going to take Sheamus out. I was like believing that. And I was hoping that would happen. And I thought that they did a good job with Cena winning and then him really rallying and beating Sting clean. And then I thought he was going to beat Sheamus. And then they just went and shit on it by bringing Kane back out. I don't know. It wound up being a big cluster. I don't know. I wasn't.
Yeah, and now we have a lackluster match coming up at the next pay-per-view. We have Kane versus Rollins, which Kane is not laying his strap down, or Rollins is not laying his strap down to Kane.
I hated it a lot more last night than I did tonight, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah, my thoughts. I have a couple thoughts about the pay-per-view. The newest member of the Shield, for a brief, fleeting moment, we had a bold gentleman in army fatigues.
You like that guy?
I absolutely loved it. At first I thought he was like, because he had like a decent build. So I'm like, okay, it's like, we have some guy from NXT I've never seen before. And what's his name? Bray Wyatt killed it. Because, I mean, obviously they knew who was coming out. But he killed it. He's like, is that your third guy?
I know. It was awesome. Wyatt was awesome on his feet. Is that your guy? Is that your guy? Oh, that
Range and awesome. Sitting there, what the fuck? Like, this guy's ridiculous. They've gotten, apparently they've had a couple people, recently, all the members of the Shield. I think Seth Rollins even, I read somewhere on Raw, I guess last week, had like a fan jump the rail and like follow him out to the ring or something.
Shield guys being targeted.
I don't know. I'm not really sure. Did you hear this is about a month ago, there's a chant aimed at, Dean Ambrose. And what the hell are they call him, like, Titty Master or something?
Why?
It was just, I don't know. I think Kev sent it to me. Cause I thought it was funny because I put it on and I was sitting at the airport and I didn't realize my volume was up high, and it was sort of awkward when it said it, and it was like, there's like 10 people around me looking at me like, what the hell are you watching?
Well, the run-in's been weird because there was an open challenge where Reigns and Ambrose were so angry on Superstars. I don't know if you saw this, and they issued an open challenge to any team because they wanted to get their frustration out. And it was to be the Ascension on the mic, coming out with the mic, accept the open challenge. But instead, what happened was these men accepted the challenge.
Ladies and gentlemen, Standing Bear and Red Eagle, Mighty Nation. Buddy Lee, we're here for one reason. Take scalps, show no mercy. Tell them, Standing Bear. That's right, IPW. We're here to make a name for ourselves, and this is where we start.
And I don't know how they got in and who let those two clowns in, but they were there. And they were on the mic. And who gave them a live mic and who let them in? Now, obviously, Red Eagle and Standing Bear were immediately arrested and taken back to local authorities, but it's gotta stop. I'll leave it there.
Yeah. So, other takeaways from the pay-per-view.
I love Mighty Nation.
they are a great tag team. We should nominate them for the Hall of Fame, I think.
I don't mean to be all over the place. I guess it's better that I'm interactive and excited rather than asleep, like I get sometimes. But can I tell you something? Bo Dallas tonight on Raw looked like Red Eagle from Mighty Nation. We'll get into that.
Yeah, he's definitely been hitting up the buffet line in those.
I love it. He's
been hitting up the buffet line in those Indian casinos.
He looks like. I want you guys to look up Mighty Nation IPW on YouTube. Red Eagle is Bo Dallas. But go ahead. Sorry. Finish up your thoughts on the pay-per-view.
Some other thoughts on the pay-per-view. What the hell were they? Oh, the Sting match. Two thoughts. The Sting match. Apparently Rollins fucked him up pretty bad with the buckle bomb. This is like 2 times in like a month or so where he's been sort of sloppy and hurt somebody.
That is called the Seth Walker, that move.
What's that?
It's called the Seth Walker.
Okay, they called it the buckle bomb. I don't care what they call it, but apparently I don't know if he did it wrong or they said he did it wrong, but there was a little bit of heat on the internet I saw about it. And I'm like, wait a second, he fucked up John Cena's face pretty bad. Like, he does one more of those, he's gonna get like a shitty rep for just being careless. I mean, he's a great worker and stuff, but I mean, if you fuck something up and hurt somebody, that's not a good thing. You can't have people like John Cena going down.
Yeah, but you can't have people like Sting going down.
But you gotta recognize something, that wrestlers take their own bumps here. Now, the knee to Cena's face, that was purely accidental. But a move like the buckle bombs that Sting was taking, that's all on Sting. That just goes back to being prepared on how you take your moves, and sometimes accidents happen and wrestlers don't take their bumps the way that they want to. That is not Rollins' fault at all. It was just an accident. There wasn't anything Rollins could have done. I mean, cause really, all Rollins does is just pick him up and let him go. I mean, when you get down on the mechanics to it, that's really all Sting throwing himself into that corner. Yeah.
And my last thought, I'm not going to give this pay-per-view more than one more thought that I have, but the main event between Rollins and Sting was probably one of the most disappointing main events that I've ever seen at a pay-per-view.
Well said.
I would say that rivals the infamous Jeff Hardy Sting match from TNA 5 years ago.
That match was entertaining.
Yeah, that match has probably got more views than any other pay-per-view main event in the history of the world because it was about 2 minutes long, and Jeff Hardy was... I don't know how the hell Jeff Hardy was able to walk.
Well, no, Sting just beat his ass. What are you talking about? Sting just dominated so much. He hit his finisher right off the bat and beat him.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. I mean, Sting even got bloodied up that match because Jeff Hardy didn't know he was taking the pin at that point.
Dude, the more we talk about Sting, the more you're going to anger Kevin. I mean, Kevin hates Sting with a passion.
Well, no, I'm saying that this is probably the most disappointing main event that I've seen since that match.
Sting's out too.
But was that main event more disappointing than the Wyatts versus the Shield?
You know what? That match wasn't good. I thought we were actually going to get, finally, a Rest of Shield heel turn.
No, instead
we got Chris Jericho still having it and almost giving Roman Reigns a reason to beat his ass, and then walking out and apparently not coming back for a while.
I mean, that was sad. What a waste of Chris Jericho to end up doing what he ended up doing.
Let's talk about that. It goes back to tonight. Why did Jericho half the job to Braun Strowman. Like, honestly, dude, that pissed me off. He is a multi-time champion, one of the most decorated wrestlers ever. Braun Strowman should not have gotten that fall. That is ridiculous. This pisses me off. Because at least Rusev has proven, I hated the way Rusev was pushed. I truly thought there was no way he was going to maintain where he is or be a productive member of the roster, and he was getting rubbed that I didn't think he deserved. I know for a fact Braun Strowman a year from now is going to be like Brodus Clay. And right now you can't even knock him down. A year from now, you're going to see him falling down to whoever the hot new person on the roster is. And he's going to job to everybody. And they let him just destroy Chris Jericho. I hate Braun Strowman. He's terrible. There's no reason to let him look this good. It's getting ridiculous.
Braun Strowman is a 6'8", 400-pound X-Pac.
They're not going to do anything with him, but they're ultimately not going to do anything with him. Like, seriously, he's so limited. He's not going to be on the mic. He's ugly. I mean, he's just like, he's not marketable. He can't move any merchandise. He sucks. Like, he sucks. He sucks so bad. He is your classic 80s shitty wrestler that you'd build up for 3 months and let Hogan finish him after he wins 3 months of matches and you never hear of him again. Strowman is terrible.
Like hillbilly again.
Strowman makes Rusev look like friggin' Adrian Neville. Seriously.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what? Here's the thing for me. I didn't have a problem with the idea of Jericho getting pinned by Strowman because that's totally something Jericho would do. Just like Sting would lay down for Broman. I mean that's just how these old veterans are. I don't have a problem.
Sting's laying down for anybody these days.
I mean, I don't have a problem with him doing the job. My problem was with how they wrote the end of this match and how he did it. I mean, Jericho was down for the longest time, and then he was up on the apron, and there was like 10 minutes with Reigns just standing there in the corner, kind of gloating, and Jericho there. And then Jericho decides to tag himself in to finish it off. It was so awkward. It was so stupid. And the end of that match came off bad. Why waste Jericho like this? It's ridiculous. And then to have him blow off Reigns and Ambrose afterwards, but no follow up on Raw, just
well,
ridiculous.
That's where I have a problem with it. Like, so Jericho, on the big stage, a lot of people watched Beast from the East. And that was really built up well. He takes on Adrian Neville. He beats Neville. Submits him with the Lion Tamer. Beats him. Great opportunity for Neville to get a huge win in Japan. And be a legendary win. And what do? He loses there. And then Jericho will put this guy over. I'm not understanding that. Neville's going to be on WWE TV for as long as his body allows him. And he will always be a worker for WWE. Strowman will not be in the WWE 2 years from now. Mark my words on that. I hate it. And they did the same thing with Jericho and Fandango. Seriously, they've just... I blame Jericho, man. I really do. It's his fault. He agrees to this shit.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, Jericho's more... I mean, he's a respected veteran. He's doing this for the love of the game. He's not doing this to make money or anything.
Strowman, though, dude. Come on, man.
Well, I mean, that's fine, but if he's doing it for the love of the game, then just keep Jericho in the babyface character that they've had him in for the last couple of years. And, go ahead and let him be the last guy in there. Let him try to hit the Lion Tamer and, Strowman no-sells it and then, hits his finisher and pins him. Fine. Do it that way. Just the way it ended just left a bad taste in my mouth.
Strowman, though. Really. I can't believe that you guys actually think this is somebody WWE is gonna run with long term.
Oh, no, I'm not agreeing with long term. I think I kind of agree with you. He is definitely gonna get, at this point, I can't see him being any better than, the Funkasaurus.
Mason Ryan? How about Mason Ryan?
Yeah, Mason Ryan was in there for a hot cup of coffee, and that was about it. I mean, let's be honest. WWE sometimes needs a guy like this. I don't see a long-term future with him, but I don't have a problem with that either, and I don't have a problem with Jericho.
On that logic, by what I've seen from Braun Strowman, he should be the world champion. He's unstoppable.
Now, let's not go that far.
Who can beat him? He's taken out Orton. He's taken out Reigns. He's killed Ambrose. He's beaten Jericho. I mean, really, there's only one man that can beat him, and we know who that is, John Cena, because he can beat everybody.
Well, see, there you go. You're right. That's it.
My biggest disappointment in the match, I thought at the end of it that either the guy who jumped in the ring at the beginning was going to come back out and be like, yeah, I thought you're going to bought 2 tickets. Or my other disappointment on that match is the fact that they didn't have. I thought that Reigns or Ambrose or both of them were going to turn heel on Jericho, because Jericho fucked up by tagging himself in, but I mean he still had a crowd behind him more than either of these guys, especially Reigns. So I mean it wasn't that big of a deal, but you could see it being something that like pisses Reigns off and he just goes ballistic and snaps and becomes a heel again. Which I think they really need to do that with him. Ambrose, I can give or take his face or heel. He's such a good performer that either way, he's fine. But I think that Reigns needs another run as a heel to freshen him up a little bit.
Well, we should cover a little bit of Raw here. We haven't gotten into it yet. Real quick, we'll knock a couple things out just to focus on the good stuff. Big Show took on Cesaro tonight. Big Show was building up his special, similar to Beast from the East. On October 3rd, the MSG House Show is going to have Big Show versus Brock Lesnar. Big Show, he was pretty dominant and beat Cesaro. Did a promo about how he beat Brock Lesnar in 2002 and he's planning on doing it again on the MSG. Bullshit. I think we know Lesnar's going to run through the Big Show. Rusev.
Actually, I like the promo from the Big Show. I did not like Cesaro getting his ass kicked again, especially seeing that he was just not on the pay-per-view.
I mean, no, that's somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose, and they're building him up for that match. So I have no problem with it. It was filler. New Day and Rusev went over Dolph Ziggler and the Dudley Boys. Ziggler got caught. Rusev put him away. I have no problem with this, and Ziggler pretty much, for the most part, I would say somewhat cleanly, went over Rusev in a singles match, which I did like, by the way. I think that's a big win for Ziggler. I have no problem with
he's banging 2 chicks on the side that Rusev has.
I have no problem with Rusev and New Day winning this match. There's really nothing to note, but the match did happen. It was a pretty good match, but it advances probably another Ziggler-Rusev match, and we definitely know the Dudleys and New Day are just beginning their feud. So those are the quick highlights. And also throw in there, Sheamus had a squash over Mark Henry earlier tonight, which I thought was surprising how easily he beat Mark Henry, given Mark Henry is one of Sheamus's greatest feuds of all time, and that is known. I was just surprised how easily he beat him in about 3 minutes, so a little disappointing. Now let's get to all the important stuff and really cover the important piece. I want to start with first and foremost the Divas. I like Charlotte winning the world title or the Divas title last night. I really liked her promo with Ric Flair tonight about how Ric Flair said his proudest moment ever was Charlotte winning the title. And whether or not those guys really were faking it or not, it looked like real tears to me. It looked pretty emotional and very, very, very cool. Then Charlotte went on to talk, and she did a great job of talking about how much she wanted to be like Ric Flair, and it was just good. The crowd liked it. It was cool. And then the PCB girls were out there with her, and it just seemed like she was just giving everybody props. And you figured the Bellas would be coming out soon. Well, Charlotte then thanked Becky Lynch and said, Becky Lynch has been like her road dog, and she loves having her around. How cool she is. And then went over to Paige and said, Paige, you know what? you made this all possible for me. You were the first to hold the NXT title. You brought in the Divas Revolution, and you were a Divas champion, and I want to be like you. And now I've achieved it. And Paige stops her, and Paige goes on legitimately one of the best rants I've seen in some time in the WWE. And I know WWE must have let her do this, and everyone must have known it. But you had that line of shoot and work, and the work part was Paige goes into heel mode. And you know what, Charlotte, you're only the champion because of me. And if you want to know what it's like to be a champion, win the title on your first night like me, and know that you're only a placeholder for people like the Bellas, and you're not going to make anything better because the only reason you have that belt is because of me. And then, that's kind of right where you think, okay, well, now sets up the next match. Oh, no. Paige wasn't done. This is where you go into the area of shoot-like stuff. She then says, I don't care about all this crap in the ring. You're only here because of your father. Wow. I guess that's still the line. And then looks at Becky Lynch and goes, Becky, you're never going to hold a title in this federation. You're a joke. Then proceeds to say that the Naomi team is all flash and they're not even real. Then she goes on to say, let's be serious. We all know the only reason why the Bellas are in the position they're in. And audience, you guys all know what I'm saying. I don't need to say it. You all know why they're in the position they're in. Let's forget about hard work, loyalty, and respect. And it was like, whoa.
I don't know. I like that. I like that segment a lot. It actually reminded me very CM Punk.
Yeah. What were you thinking though when she made those comments about the Bellas? Were you surprised she said that stuff about the Bellas? Yeah, I guess you were just in shock. The Bellas actually then showed up on the ramp. And I liked the way Nikki and Brie played it. Nikki acted kind of like caught off guard. She was like, all right, well, whatever. You're just trash. I mean, if you're going to make fun of us, at least get the stuff right if you're going to shoot. So it kind of had a cool feel to it. And then they just built up. Nikki's going to call her rematch on Charlotte, and it's only going to get harder. But overall,
I like Paige going off on her tangent there. It reminded me, it was a very pipe bomb-esque segment for her, I felt like. It was just sort of, hey, you know what? Even though you do this, this, and this, Hunter Hearst Helmsley or Cole, whatever, is going to do this. And, I mean, it was sort of like, not completely peek behind the ropes, but it was sort of like, okay, you know what? It's like things didn't change. We had this whole revolution going on that I started, and it didn't do much. So, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, I definitely thought that segment out there was made to build up a split. I mean, it was getting pretty deep there.
Well, I'll tell you this. I think a couple things. I think the Bellas were smart to greenlight the writing of letting Paige say that stuff about we know why they're in the position they're in. Because here's the thing. By the Bellas letting that get on TV, it's kind of like something that can't necessarily be said anymore because it's been said. And I think they were smart to allow it, believe it or not, because it's there and everybody thinks it anyway. So
yeah, I mean it's on Divas or whatever that show is.
Now it becomes part of the show, so it's like, you know what I mean? Now it's part of the show, which I think it's well played. The only thing I didn't like about it was I really thought they sort of buried Becky Lynch in that. Just for Paige to kind of dismiss her like that, I thought that was not cool. And I don't think it really builds up anything. I think the problem you have with the storyline is you cannot build up 9 divas at the same time. Literally, there needs to be one or two. And I think it's pretty clear cut that Sasha Banks and Charlotte are by far the most talented workers on the roster, and no one's even close. In my opinion. I think Sasha Banks is even better than Charlotte by far. I don't think she's super attractive, but that doesn't matter. She's a great worker.
Who are we talking about? Becky Lynch?
Sasha Banks.
Oh. Now, I have a question for you. What was the deal with our new champion, Miss Charlotte? She had like sparkles on her face.
I didn't like.
I wasn't really sure.
She's a badass.
I didn't like it at all. It was like something like a 12-year-old did.
She is a badass. She shouldn't have sparkles on her face.
Yeah, that was sort of weird. That was definitely weird. Made me think, what the heck are we doing with this kid in the ring? But yeah, that was sort of awkward.
It's times like these that we like. And Kev, I'll ask you this. I mean, it's you think about, of all the things I could pick to say is the biggest part of the show. Yet again, I pick the Divas Revolution. It's times like these I wish we still had Ciara Reed on our airwaves, because she probably would have a lot to say about all this stuff. What do you think?
She probably would.
What did you make of the whole Paige segment?
I hate to say it, this was one of the few parts of the shows that I missed.
You missed that?
I had to step out of the room and I missed it, and I didn't think to go back and rewatch it again. I totally forgot they were doing the celebration tonight.
What is your thoughts on Paige saying, we all know there's only one reason why you're in the positions you're in? Does that surprise you that was brought up on TV?
No, because I think that was kind of like always their intention. I mean, if you really kind of looked at this group, I think once Paige kind of got those girls together, they really started to kind of outshine her, and she really looked like she was lost and left behind on it. I kind of had a feeling that's the way this was going to end up being.
No, but I'm saying reacting, like, she literally said, without saying it, the Bella twins are only in the position they're in because they're effing Cena and Bryan.
Oh, come on. Everybody's talking about it. You know WWE was going to dabble in it sooner or later.
I'm just surprised, though. I mean, it just seems like, I think it's smart that Bella's allowed it to happen. Like I said, by bringing it out there, it's not so taboo anymore.
I mean, really, the whole point, though, is to sell Total Divas.
Which it does, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, and it, like you said earlier, it's sort of a peek behind the curtain with stuff.
Vic loves Total Divas. He's watched
I love the peek behind the curtain.
You love Total Divas. That's your favorite show.
Did I ever tell you that I live two houses down from where Total Divas is filmed?
You're lying.
Yeah, you're right, I am.
I believe you.
I think one of our viewers may have actually for a fleet second there said, wow, that's really neat. I wonder where that is. I don't fucking know. I don't know.
Vic, I want to get your take on this. So, I think Ryback and Kevin Owens have put together a real nice feud. Kevin Owens cheating to win, was able to take the Intercontinental Championship away from Ryback. And I really like these two against each other, because Kevin Owens definitely seems very threatened by Ryback, but knows how to get over on Ryback. I thought Kevin Owens was very good on the mic during the Ryback-Bo Dallas match, but there was something a little more important. Bo Dallas looks like he put on about 20 pounds, and I love it. Talk to me about Bo's cardio.
You know what? His physique looks like he has been hanging out at the Indian Casino buffet, and it's a little too much.
Bo Dallas,
free. If you play $100 worth of craps, you get a free buffet. We know that better than anyone at Angry Times.
True. I thought Bo Dallas looked like a guy that they pulled off the couch and just gave him a pair of white underwear and said, "Here's some boots, get in the ring."
Yeah, I think that the guy who jumped into the ring last night with Reigns and Rollins, or Reigns and Ambrose, was more fit to wrestle and put on a better show than him.
No, that's a problem, though. I mean, I think you could get let go by WWE for that. Because that's not even like I don't think WWE cares if you're fat, but if you let yourself go like that, it shows like you don't care. Like, I don't think it's a big deal if you're like Kevin Owens and you're bigger and, that's, you're that way to begin with. But the fact Bo Dallas was in fairly good shape when he came up to the main roster and now looks the way he does, it shows like, I think it's almost like you're better off starting that way, because now it looks like he doesn't care. Like I actually saw Adam Rose on NXT Wednesday, and he came out in his kind of heel gimmick, and he looks like he put on like a lot of muscle. And I was like, Adam Rose looks pretty cool, pretty good there. I don't know if it's changed a gimmick, but he looks like he's taking care of himself. And, I don't know. I think that it shows you're working hard. Like, we talk about Wade Barrett and how he's transformed his body, like, totally. Like, I mean, it just shows you're working hard. I mean, it says something.
Either that, or in Bo Dallas's off time, he was going through the WWE warehouses, and he found a whole crate full of Vince McMahon's Ico Pro.
Wow.
Did you see Kevin? Kevin, did you see Bo?
I saw Bo. You
didn't notice a change in his physique?
No, I wasn't paying that close of attention, to be honest. But I believe you. If you have been noticing these changes in the physique of the man-child Bo Dallas, then I'll take your word for it. Maybe his testes have finally descended and he's finally hit puberty.
I've never thought Bo Dallas is in bad shape ever. I've never looked at him and said, "Oh, he needs to like work on his physique" at all. I was like, he's a solid dude. He's a stout dude. He's not completely jacked, but he's definitely not a mess or anything. And then tonight I saw him. I'm like, holy shit! He put on like 20 pounds. He has a jiggly gut, and he's a pro athlete. And next to Ryback, he looked like shit, man. I felt bad for him. I did. I really felt bad for him. But you know what? Owens actually did a good job of putting him over.
He did.
I thought that was awesome. So that was cool. I'm glad Owens did that. Owens is very good on the mic. I really enjoy his commentary. He's very talented. Kevin Owens is very, very talented. You know what, man? That's another thing I've admitted I'm wrong on. I mean, I can't help. He's become one of my favorites. I mean, he's a fucking asshole, and he's a good worker. I love him. I mean, he's everything you want. He's kind of like a fat Kevin Nash that can work. That's what I think of him. He's got a really wise mouth, and I enjoy that.
You know what? Kevin Nash's quad is so offended by that, he's torn.
Oh, God. But Kevin Nash is very quick-witted and good on the mic. Owens reminds me of Nash on the mic, but an outstanding worker, which I would never say Kevin Nash was. But, Kevin Owens looks like, I don't even look at him like the outsider would look at him. Like, to me, he looks like a guy that should be, I know people are gonna fucking love this, but he looks like a guy that should be the main event. I mean, he's awesome. I love him. I think he's great. I should have probably watched him sooner and stopped resisting him when I saw him on the Indies. I resisted him. I'm like, I'm not gonna cheer for this fat guy. And now I love him. It's awesome. Good for Owens, man. Good for him. I'm happy for Kevin Owens. He's the man. And I'm excited about his rematch at Ryback. Ryback meat hooked his head off after the match, by the way. I enjoyed that. Just Owens does a good job of playing the runaway heel and fight when I need to. Another match that we don't need to say much about. Neville and the Lucha Dragons defeated Stardust and the Ascension. The only thing I'll add is it was supposed to be a big thing that Stardust is getting together with the Ascension. You might want to have them win their first match together if they're going to be stable. Just a thought. Vic, you like the Ascension with Stardust?
I like anything that could give the Ascension a little bit of a push. I don't know how long this gimmick works, but in the current setup as they have today, I think that this one makes sense.
Yeah, but they got to win. And you can't lose your first night out.
Exactly. Especially Kevin Owens, because he won his first night out against John Cena. And Fandango went over Y2J.
I'm very disappointed because Adam Rose and Brad Maddox got together for 1 week and created a new tag team called Beef Mode. And I really want to see Beef Mode. I'm into Beef Mode.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that the tag division is still going in the right direction, but I hate how much they jerk off the Dudley Boys. It's pretty bad.
Why does it upset you that they jerk off the Dudley Boys?
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love to see the Legends there, but I don't like to see a tag team match on Monday Night Raw to decide who faces the Dudley Boys for championship.
If you were booking, do you feel the Dudley Boys should be like Sting and RVD and all them and put people over?
Not in the tag division, because the tag division is such crap right now. I mean, pretty bad.
Would you put Mighty Nation over the Dudleys?
Absolutely. I would put Mighty Nation over Killer Bees, the Mega Powers. I don't think there is anything Standing Bear and Red Eagle could not overcome in WWE today.
You know Standing Bear and Red Eagle need money. Could you imagine the things we could do to them if we booked them?
That would be interesting. We could come down to Atlanta and offer Buff Bagwell $600 to come be a gigolo for us.
No, it's too expensive. He's too high end. I would buy Tony the Spider, Jumpin' Jeff Farmer, Motley Cruz, and the Mighty Nation, both of them, and Gorgeous JR. I could probably get all 6 guys, probably for about $800. Okay? And what I would do is I would strip them all, of course. You know I'm gonna do that. And I would stack, listen to me, I would stack them like Legos. I would stack them like Legos on top of each other.
You know, Vic, we're gonna have to pull some money together and do this for Tenzai for his birthday one year.
You know how cool that would be? Dude, you know it would be funny. Seeing old naked men being stacked up in a wrestling ring. Like, what would the crowd do? Like, they would be like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, why are they stacking up those nude Indians?
What are we gonna name this event? Angry Tenzai's Lemon Party?
I would call it Thunder Lions instead of Thunder Kittens. Just an idea. So, I want to talk about something more important. Kane. I loved that Kane came back tonight as Corporate Kane, and that he acted as if regular Demon Kane never came back, and almost as if both Kanes are different people. I enjoy that, and I like that. It was like when Dude Love was supposed to fight Mankind, and Dude Love got taken out by some asshole before the match. And I remember thinking to myself, what an ass. I forgot who it was. I think Stone Cold took one of them out. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if Stone Cold didn't do that, like, how would this match have went down? Anyway, I digress. I do like that Corporate Kane is back, and Demon Kane is back, and Corporate Kane is making it like he has no knowledge that Demon Kane's back.
Yeah, and I have a question for you. You saw the very end, where our hero, Seth Rollins, got sucked into the ring by the Demon Kane. Now, my question to you, my friend, what exactly goes on in that hole?
I don't know. Demon Kane, see, I won't make fun of Kane, because I'm a huge Demon Kane fan, because he's old school and he's Attitude Era. But I want to see Corporate Kane become like a fan of Masked Kane, and almost act as if they're different people. And they're kind of going down that route, and I like that. But I was really surprised to see Corporate Kane come out tonight, but I was delighted when he acted as if he didn't know Demon Kane was around. Now you've actually given me interest in this feud with Seth Rollins, when last night I was like, I can't believe they put the stupid mask on him, and they're going to do this again, and they're going to have him feud with Seth Rollins for no reason. But what you're seeing, Vic, to your point about it being another crappy main event, this is the drawback of WWE Network. They don't have to put on all good pay-per-views. And I would rather see them give random NXT guys or people who haven't had a shot championship matches than for them to really put together these thrown together main events that are hot-shotted and the champion's gonna win. So I would have rather seen, like, when Dean Ambrose and him had the 2 pay-per-view match feud, I'd rather see like a 4-month feud with Dean Ambrose than them throw Kane out there. I mean, it's stupid. But, hopefully we'll be entertained by the whole Demon Kane, Corporate Kane thing. But I wasn't necessarily a fan of that. And I also was surprised to see the rematch booked tonight between Cena and Rollins. I mean, man, I don't know why they're letting the U.S. title look so dominant and superior to the world title. I mean, I'm not following. I mean, I don't even know what to make of this. I don't know if I dislike it. I don't even know if I like it. I'm just really confused. And I'm sure kids are as well. What do you think, Vic?
Yeah, but you know what? I think that they wanted to get this over with to sort of end this feud. I mean, it was a cool feud between the two of them. I think Cena's going on to bigger, better things with this belt. I don't know what they are yet, but I don't think we're going to see him wrestling Seth Rollins any pay-per-views in the near future.
Yeah, but did he
Just my personal opinion.
They should have him get counted out chasing around Kane or something. Like, did he have to job again? You know what I mean?
I don't know. Yeah. The one thing I did like, and this is on the pay-per-view, I'm sorry to digress, but when what's his name fell and was like hurt pretty bad and get checked out, or no, it was outside the ring where he got powerbombed through the table and looked like he hit a monitor. Real veteran move by Seth Rollins from what it looked like, and I'm just assuming this is what happened because he sort of walked around outside the ring and he was going to take off, and then he decided to come back. I think that was just a great stalling technique for him to basically say, hey, look, it's like, I can continue with this match.
That's a good point.
Because he came down, if you watch where he comes down on the table, there was a monitor right there. I mean, he didn't fall like head first into it, or I don't think he hit his head directly on it, but I mean, once he got through the table part of it, that was right there. And it didn't look like it had much give.
No. I don't like the monitors on the tables, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and actually, you know what I don't like? If you're really trying to injure your opponent, why don't you leave the monitor on the table and splash them? That could really fuck up somebody's back.
Yeah.
There's an easy answer for that. I mean, it's what, $5 worth of plywood to make those tables, but ridiculous that those monitors still run a couple $100 a piece. So, if I'm the kayfabe head of a wrestling federation, I'd be telling all these guys as well, you want to wipe out the table? That's fine, but take off the equipment first, or it's coming out of your fucking paycheck.
Wow.
Wow, you're true. That was a very ECW quote there. You sound like Paul Heyman back in the mid-90s.
Oh, and that probably was very real for ECW back then as well. I mean, Paul Heyman's be like, Jesus Christ, guys, we don't have enough of a budget to keep replacing all these goddamn monitors. We can dig up the damn plywood from the back of the picking pay.
Save the tables. Save the tables.
Save the tables.
Yeah, bring your own thumbtack and barbed wire, Mick Foley. Sorry. We have budget around here, buddy.
Well, I personally, I don't really know if I like the new direction of all the main storylines, but I know I like Owens and Ryback continuing. I know I'm still interested in the Dudley Boys and New Day. I'm okay with all that. I do think Ziggler, they didn't make a big enough deal out of Ziggler's win over Rusev. I think that put Ziggler in a really good spot. Now let me throw something out there to you. Ziggler just pinned Alexander Rusev, right? You have a pay-per-view coming up. Why is Ziggler not fighting Seth Rollins? You know how awesome that would be for the WWE title rather than Kane? Am I missing something there? Like, don't you think? Like, wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much confidence in where this whole Kane feud's leading up to, except keeping the belt on Seth Rollins till the next pay-per-view, which is probably Survivor Series. So, yeah. I mean, I think they're giving him, at this point, I mean, he can put on a match. He's not going to look like Jackoff out there. He can still put on a match, so it'll be decent, but it's not going to be a 5-star, holy shit, you still got it type match.
Vic still got it.
Those are my thoughts.
Vic still got it.
I do still got it. I read somewhere that, like, people were, like, all up in arms, like, wow, it's like, they're saying the Undertaker, he still got it, and it's really disrespectful. It's like, no, you haven't wrestled in a freaking year after, like, getting, like, blood transfusions and whatever else. Like, you haven't wrestled a fucking year, and you get this shit? Oh, my God. I fucking hate it.
Vic, if you were booking an indie show, and you only had $1,000 to work with, how would you book it, and what would you do?
I would hire 2 people.
Who?
I would hire Pac-Man Jones to make it rain, and then Buff Bagwell to pick up all the money.
Do you think that those federations that go from like Elks Lodge to Elch Log can make money, in your opinion?
Obviously, they're making money for somebody, but pretty much the only guy they're making money for is whoever the promoter is. So the Paul Heyman of the Elks Lodges, I guess. And I mean, I'm sure the Elks Lodge makes some charity. They might get like $5, $10 per person who comes in. I'd like that $60 or 60 people who show up. I don't know. Have I told you, by the way, my new entrepreneurial ventures?
No, what is it?
Well, first of all, I've become a Jamsbury fingernail rep. I can send fingernail wraps to you, your wife, your children.
What are you talking about?
I've become a Jamsbury independent consultant. Did you not see I have 14 posts this weekend on Facebook?
Who did this?
I've joined the Jamsbury sales team.
Congratulations.
But yeah, you can put it on your face, this cream and stuff, it'll make you look like 10 years younger. So, pretty big happenings there. But yeah, I just thought you'd like to hear about my entrepreneurial ventures there.
Congrats.
I'm looking forward to my WWE Championship match at some point in the future.
What about the Gorgeous JR?
Gorgeous JR is a hack.
I would love to know where all those guys are now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling they're at the VFW right about now.
I'm coming for you, Bill Ass.
Saying their promotional posters are going to be the time that Hulk Hogan shook their hand backstage and they got a picture with.
I know everyone loves the IPW though, man. I mean, if they invade, imagine like they invade and you just like Seth Rollins cuts some long ass promo, and then on the stage is this man.
Welcome to the IPW, the Gorgeous JR. JR, welcome. That's right, Mr. Lee. The Gorgeous One is here after many weeks of contract negotiations. The JR and the IPW have finally got it together. 235 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal. The men's pride and the women's delight. The toast of the coast with the utmost. And so fine. So very fine.
So very fine. What would Rollins wouldn't know how to deal with that.
No, he really wouldn't. That's one of the better promos I've heard in a while.
That actually is a good honestly, it's pretty good. He's like their best promo guy at IPW. Anyway.
How do you find these videos?
I don't know. They're all over the internet. There's some other bad federations too. I'm a big fan of the IPW.
You know who I like?
Who?
Red Eagle, Standing Bear.
Red Eagle won that untelevised battle royal. Remember I told you about that?
Yeah. You know what? I think this might be the year that they make the WWE Hall of Fame.
They're a good choice, you know. But
if Sting can't make it this year, I think that they need to win it.
Let's see. Red Eagle. Oh, here it is. I have results from Cage Match. Here's who was in. So, I have a lot of Red Eagle results here. They're just like, Red Eagle defeats Rob Lynch. Oh, wait a second. I think this is a different Red Eagle. This is a different Red Eagle.
Really? There's an imposter?
Yeah.
Is it like the fake Sting and the real Sting?
Who is this guy? He called himself Red Eagle. He looks like Sami Zayn. Who is this Red Eagle? He's not Red Eagle.
He's an imposter.
Oh, that really does not fit well with me. Hey guys, anyway, listen, we gotta get rolling, but I think we did everything we need to do for this week. Kev, is there anything you want to add?
Before we get going, I want to wish former Angry Marks host Sierra Reed a very happy birthday today.
Sierra Reed, baby. Divas Revolution here on Angry Marks.
Indeed.
Excellent. Happy birthday, Sierra. Anything you want to plug, Big Dick? Oh, jeez.
Would you like to rephrase that?
Killer Cav, thank you for having us on the airwaves tonight, and we'll see you all next week. Killer Cav, hit the music.